Think about money as this. Money is a game. So people have answered, I've interviewed over 200 multimillionaires about what money means to them. There's all kinds of cool answers. Money's energy, money's passion, money's projects, money is freedom, all kinds of cool stuff. But one that I love is money is a game. Because if we have an authentic conversation real quick about money, and I'm going to use the parallel of a game, we begin to understand what a game is. If I tell you a game is like Monopoly, do we understand what board games are? Yeah. Do we know how board games work? Yeah? How do board games work? You're going to have, in all board games out there, you have rules to the game, yes? And at the end of the game, you have a winner and you have losers. That's a fact, right? So if we compared money as a game, just like a board game, we would also then begin to understand, okay, I just need to understand the rules of the game, and at the end of this game, there's going to be what? Winners and losers. This is what's wrong with society having no fucking keeping score at baseball games anymore for kids. If we compare it to a baseball game, right? In sports, it's a game. In all those games, what's in all those games? Super Bowl was last weekend. What was in that game? There were what? There were rules to that game of how you play the game. If you don't play by those rules, you'll lose. It's very simple. Does that make sense? If you're playing Monopoly with someone you sat down with, and a group of you are playing Monopoly, and then through the game, you're like, someone else came along and said, hey, I want to play too. You're like, okay, cool, sit down. And then it was their turn, and instead of rolling the dice, they said, you know what? I'm just going to not roll the dice, and I'm going to go to Boardwalk, and I'm just going to buy Boardwalk and pass go at the same time. Is that cool? All right, thanks. Now, if someone was doing that in a board game and not playing by the rules of the game, what would you do? You stop playing. Say, dude, you can't play that game. That's not how it works. You're just making shit up as you go along. All right, now go back to money for a second. If I said to you right now, what are the rules of real fucking money? On that board game of money, guess which one you are? The one playing by the real rules or the one making shit up as they go along? Where does that lead to? Winning or losing? Because if you don't know how to play the game, how can you ever win at it? So let's look at money as a game. What we have to understand is the rules of the game. We must understand to set the foundation here, we must understand that in the game, there's going to be two teams, okay? There's going to be two teams. It's not a right or wrong, good or bad, righteous or evil. It's not. But there's two teams. The two teams, I refer to them as the contributors and the creators. On this side, we have what's called contributors, okay? It's not a bad thing. It's just that's what they do, okay? Not good or bad. My mom and dad were contributors. They worked their entire life, and they contribute money. They're contributors, okay? This is what they do. Again, that's my own mom and dad. I'm not saying it's bad or this is a team, contributors. This other team on this side over here is referred to what I refer to as creators. So on this side, we have creators, and this side we have contributors. Contributors contribute money, creators create money. Now, here's one cool fact that you can get through real quick. In creators, we're meaning wealthy. Do you know where all wealth of wealthy people, do you know where all the money from all the wealthy people come from? It only comes from one spot. Money only comes from one location. All the money that you're going to get as you create wealth will come from one location. Do you know what it is? That side over there. All the money that the wealthy creators have, this isn't bad. Remember, this isn't bad or good. This is how it works. All the money comes from this side. Contributors. Contributors work a job. Boom, 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 whatever it is. They work a job. They get their paycheck. At the end of the pay, as soon as the first comes along, they get their money, their paycheck. What's the first thing they do with their money? They pay their what? Their rent or their mortgage. Okay, so if they pay their rent, boom, the rent goes to this side. Because who owns all the houses? Wealthy people or poor people? Wealthy people. The money flows from that side to this side. They pay their car loans that they have. Who owns the car loans? Just understand, poor people or wealthy? The wealthy do. Everything the contributors do is about them taking their money and immediately sending it which way? That way. Think about your life right now. Every time you get money, where is it going? Where is it going, bro? It flows. Money is always in movement. It's flowing. Which team are you on? Not good or bad, right or wrong, but you got to understand there's going to be two teams, contributors and creators. I can spend hours on those two topics defining those right there. Understand there's going to be two teams, contributors and creators. I go fast. Here we go. Rule number one. Rule number one is simple. Rule number one is what I refer to as money movement. This is the real rule, so write this one down. Money movement. To understand money, for you to have money, to achieve what you want to in life as a successful entrepreneur, you have to understand the rule of money movement. My job as a creator, because I'm gonna be on this side, my job as a creator is every time I fucking get money, I gotta do one thing with it. What do I gotta do with it? Move it. Move it. Understand this philosophy on this side, not this side of the room, but this side right here I'm saying on stage, is the exact opposite philosophy of this side, contributor side. People say like, oh, well, the wealthy, you know, they're what the wealthy do, they're somewhat similar between the two sides, they're just a little bit different. You know who says that? The fucking broke people on this side. That's who says that shit. That's not true. If you took how this game is played of money and this game is played, and you took these two games and you put them like this right here, they have nothing in common. Matter of fact, everything that this side will do the exact opposite. Not similar. Not like, well, close. Fuck no, opposite. Two teams, contributors and creators. Let me move on. When it comes to money movement, money movement. Our job is to make money move, okay? As a creator on this side, I'm gonna make my money move constantly, right? Anytime I get money, my job is to get it to work, make that money come back to me. I'm gonna go invest in apartments, businesses, buildings, companies, whatever it may be. That money goes to work, it comes back. How much, think of this real quick, how much of your money are you constantly moving? On this side, this is Dave Ramsey philosophy. Contributors, they don't move money. What do? They hold that shit. They get the money and they just hold it. Right there, oh, don't fucking move. I gotta hold all my money. I don't wanna lose it. The studies were done. They said the number one emotion from people on the emotion of money. Do you know the number one feeling people had about money? What was the number one emotion people had about money? They were afraid. Afraid of what? Losing it. So what does this side always do? The exact opposite. They never move it. They just hold on to it. They hold on to it. And then at the next paycheck, they look back in the bank account and there ain't nothing in there. Like, oh shit, I gotta hold it tighter. I gotta squeeze it tighter. No more going out to eat. No more cheese on our cheeseburgers. You hear me? Fucking water only, bitches. Nothing. We gotta hold this shit. Every month, at the end of the month, no matter what you do, what's that? What is still back at? 0. You fucking take 2 Adderall. I'm gonna hyper focus on this shit. I ain't fucking moving anything. It's still gone. We gotta understand money movement. Understand this point right here. When it comes to money movement, I'm gonna give you a little bit of history to back it up here for you. In money movement, there's the word, or what's the older word for the money? What's the older word for money? Currency. Okay, so the word money comes from the word currency. Where does the word currency come from? Current. The word currency comes from the word currents. I have a house in Florida on the beach. For there to be currents in that water's got to be doing something. What's it got to be doing? It's got to be moving. Listen to me. The very fucking definition of the word money comes from the word movement. It's where the word comes from. Money, currency, currents, moving. And what does the contributors never do? That. Rule number 1, you got to keep your money in movement.